Hello language lovers, thank you so much for clicking and thank you so much for coming back. Early March this year, a judge from Uganda, who is also a United Nations Criminal Tribunal judge, was convicted in the United Kingdom for modern slavery and violating immigration laws. She deceived the British authorities in the process of bringing a maid from Uganda and keeping that same maid as a domestic servant without payment. In this video, we're going to react to the judge being confronted by the police as a result of a report made by the victim. Let's have a look.
So unfortunately I'm going to have to now arrest you on suspicion of keeping somebody in slavery and servitude under the Modern Slavery Act. So you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which later on in court.
Officer.
Anything you do say may be used as evidence. Alright. Sorry?
I am a judge in my country. I even have immunity. I am not a criminal.
You've got immunity in this country?
Yes. I have a diplomatic passport.
You're a diplomat?
Yes.
So we'll need to see that then.
Yes.
And then we'll need to speak to the embassy if you are a diplomat.
I came here as a student. I don't need her to work for me. I didn't come with her. She asked me because she has worked at my home before. She asked me.
So unfortunately I'm going to have to now arrest you on suspicion of keeping somebody in slavery and servitude under the Modern Slavery Act. So you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which later on in court.
Officer.
This is a woman with a brilliant legal career, having won numerous accolades in the field of human rights, only to end up committing a grave offense within the same branch, which is modern slavery. Human trafficking into the UK for domestic servitude, forced labor, modern slavery, and even sexual exploitation is a thing, especially among cultures where domestic servants ought to be subservient to a point that they have to make their bosses feel like medieval royalty. The excessive dominance exerted upon domestic servants within such cultures is unparalleled in Western societies as a matter of principle, given that in the West, human rights have evolved and justice tends to be served. On this video, the woman focuses herself more on her immunity and not so much on the crime she's alleged to have committed. This is because she knows that in principle, diplomats and high-ranking officials from some international organizations enjoy diplomatic immunity, which means that they cannot be investigated or prosecuted unless the countries of origin waive their diplomatic immunity. But she herself ended up being prosecuted despite all the titles mentioned above. Why is that? What happened? What went wrong? Judge Lydia Mugambe was in the UK as a PhD student at the prestigious University of Oxford, by the way, and under such capacity she could not enjoy diplomatic immunity, hence the prosecution. Now, interestingly enough, this isn't the first time that a high-ranking official could objectively enjoy diplomatic immunity for serious offenses such as this one or worse, have indeed benefited from diplomatic immunity. In the very recent past, a few diplomats or their relatives have enjoyed diplomatic immunity in the UK after having committed serious offenses. The killing of Harry Dunn is an example thereof. Harry Dunn was a 19-year-old British citizen who died as a result of a road traffic collision between him as a motorcyclist and Anne Sakulas, who was working for the USA intelligence community at the time of the collision and was married to a CIA employee stationed in the UK. The collision happened because Mrs. Sakulas was driving on the wrong side of the road, making her fully responsible for the accident. She fled the country soon after the accident. She went back to the USA, claiming diplomatic immunity to which she was entitled according to the 1961 Convention on Diplomatic Relations. Although she ended up pleading guilty through video link for the killing of Harry Dunn due to her reckless driving, she refused to return to the UK, and the US refutably denied to waive her diplomatic immunity. So had Judge Lydia Mugambe been in the UK as a United Nations staff, she could have enjoyed diplomatic immunity for the crime she has committed. But instead, she's now awaiting a sentence that will be delivered on the 2nd of May this year. What sort of sentence do you think she deserves considering her professional background? Next episode, we're going to talk about how other countries, parties in this convention, deal with diplomatic immunity. Are they more lenient than the UK? Is that even possible? Don't miss out. Thank you so much for being here, and see you next time. Bye. As a result